In many communities across Mexico, the traditional role of water in daily hydration has been displaced. In its place is a dark carbonated syrup that has become a staple of the national diet. This chart contrasts the average global soda intake with the reality in Mexico. On average, a Mexican citizen consumes 2.5 liters of soda every day, amounting to roughly 800 liters per person every year. The French philosopher Michel Foucault described this as biopolitics. He argued that modern power doesn't rely on jails or violence to control a population. Instead, it manages life itself, capturing our habits, our bodies, and our health. Historically, Mexican hydration was tied to the land. Farmers relied on pozole, a fermented corn drink, or tejate, a traditional mix of toasted maize and cacao. These were more than drinks. They were central to the country's agricultural identity. Foucault's theory suggests that real power dictates the terms of your happiness. It identifies what you crave and ensures it is the only entity capable of satisfying that craving. The transition from ancient grain-based traditions to a near total reliance on a foreign corporate product raises a difficult question. How does a nation's biological and cultural lifestyle get rewritten by a single corporation? The process began in 1926. Coca-Cola entered Mexico with a marketing strategy that targeted the family unit. Advertisements portrayed the soda as a symbol of hospitality, suggesting that a good host or a good brother always keeps the product within reach. They scaled this influence by sponsoring local sporting events and purchasing endorsements from cultural influencers. Eventually, the brand even appeared in local religious ceremonies, with the carbonated beverage being used as a ritual offering to the gods. By the 1990s, this cultural presence was backed by new international free trade agreements. These policies opened the door for massive industrial investment and the construction of high-capacity bottling plants. In the Chiapas region, the state authorized the corporation to extract 1 million liters of groundwater every day. As industrial boreholes reached thousands of feet down, shallow local wells began to run dry. This extraction disrupted the local ecology. Farmers were pushed toward marginal swamplands to find water for their crops, while industrial runoff and agricultural displacement led to widespread pollution of the remaining river systems. As the natural water supply became either inaccessible or unsafe, the sugary alternative, already deeply embedded in the culture, remained the most widely available form of hydration. This shift had measurable consequences for the population's health. Today, roughly 16. When the government investigated the depletion of the water table, the official report didn't cite the bottling plants. Instead, it attributed the water loss to the broader effects of climate change, effectively shielding the industry from liability. Medical inquiries followed a similar pattern. They focused on the lack of exercise and the fat content in traditional Mexican diets, rather than the high volume of daily sugar consumption. These outcomes occurred during the administration of President Vicente Fox. Before entering politics and donning the presidential sash, Fox had served as the chief executive officer of Coca-Cola Mexico. During his term, the corporation's water extraction licenses were renewed for 20 years. Simultaneously, his administration rejected a proposed sugar tax intended to curb soda consumption. The case suggests that when corporate leadership and state leadership overlap, the boundary between public interest and private profit becomes difficult to distinguish. For many citizens, the response to the water and health crises is to seek out premium bottled water, searching for a safer and healthier alternative to both the tap and the soda. However, the most successful healthy brands, like Topo Chico mineral water, are owned by the same beverage giant that dominates the soda market. At the same time, the rising diabetes rate has created a vast market for pharmaceuticals. Companies like Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk now supply the insulin and medications required to manage the epidemic. This diagram shows the ownership of these medical providers. The top institutional shareholders of Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk are BlackRock and Vanguard. Looking at the beverage giant, we find the same entities. BlackRock and Vanguard are also the primary shareholders of Coca-Cola. Is a modern example of biopolitics in action. When your environment, your daily diet, and your medical treatments are all part of the same economic cycle, it is worth asking how many of your daily choices are truly your own.